Welcome to the Living in Utah channel. Live question and answer session here Thursday evening. I try to make it every Thursday. It's just an open forum. You're welcome to talk about anything that you want, whatever comes to mind. If you want to talk about the state of Utah, you want to talk about the United States, and whatever is the topic for agenda. So, in the state of Utah right now, we are enjoying some fall weather. I just wanted to check on one thing also. For people who are looking at interest rates, whether they're going to go up or down, just get you some exact numbers here on what the, okay. One of the figures that the Federal Reserve looks at is the unemployment numbers. And the unemployment numbers were released this week, or today, actually. They expected numbers of they expected new claims of 202,000. It was 204. So the numbers are increasing. And that is something that the Federal Reserve is trying to, with the idea is, as they raise interest rates, it's trying to bring the inflation down by people not purchasing goods because of the added cost and with that, so if you're not selling as many cars and clothing and food items, with that, typically also you'll see unemployment numbers rise. So that is their goal. That's the way that the Federal Reserve is looking at determining if they are going to raise interest rates or not. So those numbers are key numbers for the Federal Reserve. So we're seeing unemployment numbers bump up a little bit, just a small amount, in my opinion. That's just a small amount. So the Federal Reserve did say last week or the week before that he has penciled in another rate increase for this year, 2023. That could happen in October, November, December. They do meet monthly to determine this. So, but some of these numbers, I follow the numbers fairly closely a little bit. Definitely not something that I, study in depth a whole lot. I just look at them briefly to get an idea where we're going to go with interest rates and also where stock market and stuff like that is going to trade for a particular day. I do enjoy the news. I do trade the news on the stock exchange. So it seems to me the numbers that I see is we're kind of like stabilizing this inflation number. And the inflation number, I think, has reached its top. And I actually think we are on the curve going down on the inflation number. That's my opinion by some of the numbers that I see. And I think this winter is going to be a telling time. We'll see if unemployment rises. And, this is all from the effects of raising interest rates. Cost consumers more to credit cards, home loans, car loans, all kinds of loans right across the board. They've all seen increases. And that's supposed to slow down consumer spending. That's their goal. That's how they try to tame inflation. Now, whether that's right or wrong, I'm definitely not an expert in that field. So tonight I want to talk a little bit about, we've got electric buses in Zion National Park. It's good and bad. The good is you can enjoy a bus ride through the park that is a quiet ride. So you can enjoy the not only the sights, but also the sounds of nature. I like that idea of the electric buses. Now, the bad news is somebody has to pay for this. And if you're in the state of Utah right now and you're probably thinking, oh boy, sounds expensive. Yeah, the buses were expensive. But the good news is the state of Utah did not pay for the buses. They received $33 million from the Department of Transportation. They've got 5 electric buses going right now, but I don't anticipate it being paid by the taxpayers of Utah directly. Of course, we do pay federal taxes. So in a way, we are paying for these buses on a federal level, but it's also being shared by everybody else in the United States. And I want to thank everybody else in the United States for supplying our national park with some buses. You want to send some more money to our state? Great. Continue on. But I do like the idea on the national parks of having electric buses. So hopefully they have a battery life longer than what you are seeing on like the new Ford F-150. I've heard people pulling a trailer or a car behind their pickup truck and getting a range of like 100 miles. So hopefully the buses can go a little further and people don't have to walk back. All right. My lady and I finally moved to Salt Lake from Kansas City a couple of weeks ago. I was very prepared moving out here thanks to your videos. Thank you for what you do. You're welcome. I'm curious as to what your thoughts are on the state of Utah that you've seen so far, and how does it compare to Kansas City? I'm not that familiar with Kansas City myself, so it definitely would be very informative. Most I know about Kansas City is the Kansas City Chiefs, so that's about all I know. Yeah, I don't know how the weather. That's a good question too. Is the weather in an area like Kansas City? I'm not familiar. Is it an area that receives a lot of humidity? Is it very humid during the summer months and winter months? Do you receive any snow? Does the snow come on a regular basis across Kansas City? Not too sure if it drops down there. Yeah, definitely an area that I'm not as familiar with. But the state of Utah, with the new buses and everything like that, hopefully some of the other parks will also receive these buses. Does make viewing the park, I think, a lot nicer without having the diesel engine noise going through the park at the same time. So hopefully they're very nice buses outfitted with some air conditioning and everything like that. Well, you probably have to have air conditioning in Zion National Park. It gets very toasty during the summer months. So, and that's a tip too. So if you're joining us from somewhere outside of the state of Utah and you're looking at maybe planning a vacation to somewhere like Zion National Park, the times to avoid would be June, July, and August. It's the hottest time. You'll see temperatures well over 100 degrees. The spring and fall, like right now, is the perfect time to visit Zion National Park. And even during the winter months, it is a great time to visit. The temperatures do cool a little bit, but nothing more maybe than like a sweater or a light jacket, something like that. Maybe in the mornings, a little cooler, warm up throughout the day, depending on what kind of weather front we have coming through. But if you are looking at visiting our national parks, the June, July, and August, a lot of those parks are very, very warm, very warm. So, and that's the months that we see the most visitors. So I actually talked to somebody on the phone that was coming from somewhere in the Midwest. They were coming out here to, they were planning a vacation to ride their UTVs. They own UTVs and they were getting 2 or 3 trailers and bring them out, and they were going to have a time, and they were scheduling something. It was, I think, talked to him like last winter, scheduling something for like July, and some of the places that he was going to, I told him you might want to bump it up a couple months or back a couple months because of the heat, and he didn't cross his mind too much about that. But yeah, the riding temperatures are a little warmer if you can go when it's in the 80s. That's just perfect. Any more questions this evening? I'm going to call it a night and hope everybody has a great weekend. Take care and stay safe.